What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and today we're going to be taking a look at some EV stocks, baby. Last week I made a video where I believe we went through 6 EV stocks, tried to take a little bit of an outlook towards the next week, had a look at what we expect the stock to do, did quite a bit of technical analysis, and it was quite an odd week for EV stocks. I have opened an EV stock 2 little fake portfolio thing today. You'll see that so far they're up 3.65% on the day. Imagine you had even positions in all of these different companies right here. Not something we see very often, where all of the low caps even are green at market open, in all honesty with you. But it is coming off the back of quite a poor week. Now, with that being said, the S&P 500, 3 straight losing days in a row, opens up today. S&P 500 is pretty much at break even. The Dow is down a little bit. The Nasdaq is up a little bit. But it's fair to say it's been quite poor trading days over the last little while. Now, I wouldn't get too excited about the fact that, this is up 3.68% as of right now, because a lot of these stocks had some really bad days last week. But today we're going to be taking a look at them. We're going to be taking a look at a couple of the biggest pieces of news in the EV world as of right now. There's one company's earnings I will be keeping an eye out for. We're going to be taking a look at what happened with Xpeng and why their last earnings report really drove this company down to the ground, and why we need to keep that in mind going forward, looking at these other companies. And also, guys, I want to get back to uploading a lot more often. The support on the last video was often. Can we get 100 likes on today's video? If we get 100 likes today, I will guarantee you guys a new video tomorrow. So if we can do that, I'd appreciate you. Also, drop me a comment down below and subscribe if you're new around here. All of that helps me out so much, and all of that keeps me going. So everything will be timestamped in the description below, just so you guys are aware. But before we get into the individual companies, one thing I would like to point out is this piece of news came out a few days ago. China to see 520,000 retail sales of passenger NEVs in August, okay? So for the current month, retail sales of new energy passenger vehicles in China are expected to reach 520,000 units, up 108.3% year over year, and 7% from July. Now, all I want to point out is that I believe since 2020, the last 3 months of the year have pretty much been the best 3 combined. So we're getting close to that range now. I'm very interested to see the September numbers when they do eventually come in for us. But I am very interested to see what happens going into the last 3 months of this year as an EV investor. I want to know what's going to happen. And I think a lot of these companies are starting to make certain patterns on their charts that could make us believe that there is going to be an upward move. And I do think that if we see really good retail sales in the world of EV across the board, companies are going to perform very well. Now, obviously, there are so many constrictions going on that have kept EV down over the last year or so. It's not as if they're going to magically disappear during the last quarter, but that is what I will be looking at. So 520,000 units, that is still up 108% year over year, still capturing more and more market share. Now, this is just China, but still worth taking a look at, especially if you are even invested in Tesla or NIO or any of the rest of them, really. They do say here that in the second half of the year, supply is expected to continue to increase as leading NEV companies upgrade their production lines and expand capacity. Let's see if the US can come out and say some fairly similar things over the next week or two, considering the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, Xpeng, ticker symbol XPEV, isn't one that I typically cover on the channel all that much, because it's not one that I've ever invested in. When it comes to my Chinese EV companies, I'm happy enough being in NIO and having that Tesla exposure as well. But Xpeng fell 11% on Tuesday after the Chinese electric vehicle maker disappointed investors with its Q2 earnings report after the lockdowns in Shanghai impacted their results. Revenues bet estimates rising 98% year over year. On the downside, gross and vehicle margins slipped during the quarter, with the former falling to 10.9% from 11.9%, so a full 1% raw decrease for the same period. And then their vehicle margins dropped to 9.1% from 11%, so nearly 2% down. So people quite clearly didn't take too happily to this, and you can see even today where a lot of EV stocks are going up, quite considerably, big ones and small ones. Chargepoint having a juicy day. XPEV is still down there after having one of the biggest losses of them all. So we'll speak a little bit more on margins later on when we get to Chargepoint in particular, because their earnings are coming up in the next week. I got it wrong earlier on in the month. I got some bad information from Seeking Alpha somewhere, but anyway. So we're going to take a look at Tesla first. You can see the past 5 days, so pretty much since we covered them last, they are down about 1%, but they have been down as much as 6.2%. So again, I'm stressing the fact that it was a bad week for a lot of these companies. Not even just the small ones, the likes of Tesla as well. So when we look at that, you can see it doesn't look too bad. It just looks like some relatively healthy movement. There was some nice little upward moves, downward moves, just creating price action, just creating some areas to trade within, creating some consolidation, creating some volume. That's all they're really doing as of right now. Now, the split is obviously coming up, baby. I would expect an initial upward move and then the pullback that we do so often see with these stock splits. When it comes to Tesla, a lot of it is happening alongside Twitter right now. And if you're following the whole Elon Musk Twitter debacle, you'll know that there is an array of lawsuits going around. There was a 5% drop in Twitter yesterday after a whistleblower came through. So there's a lot of drama happening in the world of Tesla right now, sitting right around the $900 mark. I mean, this has become a pretty staple part of Tesla's price history. I mean, the first time they went on that, well, not the first time, but, you know, if we go back to 2020, that huge run into 2021, that's right around where they finished off before coming all the way back down to the low 500s. And then they popped up yet again, of course, but they spent a lot of time in that 900s, particularly areas of consolidation right here before, you know, big blowouts and then big upward moves again. So this is becoming a pretty standard point of price action. But does that mean that it's a safe point? No, not whatsoever, because again, we do see huge 50% fluctuations here. I'm watching them closely. The chart doesn't look the healthiest as of right now. I mean, it doesn't take a technical genius to let you know that. But they have been performing well. Earnings coming up, you know, towards the end of October. We have a little while to wait, but people reacted well to our last ones. There is a little gap created down here, which, you know, I'm sure some people are going to be worrying about, right around the $750 range. So what's that, 16-17% to the downside. Worth watching still. It's Tesla, baby. You know, dollar cost average, you're not going to be able to go too wrong. No major news outside of that, though. I'm going to show you guys Chargepoint, and I'm going to show you guys that, boom, even after being up about 9% right now, they're down 9% on the week. They had a couple of huge downward days. Now, this is the volatility that comes with Chargepoint and is going to continue to come with Chargepoint for quite a while. Now, if you did watch my video on these guys last week, I am putting a lot of time and effort into following this chart from a technical point of view, and you can see that they've been following the downtrend, but I've finally begun to start getting excited about these guys again from a technical point of view. I'm very excited about them from a fundamental point of view. Obviously, there are a lot of things wrong as well. I'm not trying to say, you know, these guys are a guarantee upward move by any means. But technical wise, right, we've had this huge downward trend, okay? Absolutely huge. We have not broke out above it pretty much at all. Here we did, and we broke out above it, and we didn't explode. You know, we spent a few days here going up and down. Then we broke up through a relatively prominent area of resistance. It previously was an area of support. You can see a lot of times the price volume coming down to here, rejecting it until they eventually smashed down through it. Now, this is going back to early 2022. But we broke up above that area of resistance, and we spent 3 days up there. So it wasn't like, you know, an immediate bounce back down. Now you can see, boom, it was a huge sell-off. We came right back down to this long-term area where we're looking at with that downward trend. Bounce right off of it. This is creating some healthy price action. We're not just getting up, 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 up. We all know what happens when that happens. When it's just up, 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 it comes right back down. What we're getting is consolidation. Up, down. We're back up. We have a down day. We go up. We have had a few down days. Now, hopefully, we're going back up. So I will heavily be looking towards that 1760-ish mark. But again, earnings are coming up the end of this month, and anything could happen there. Now, I personally think they're going to have a relatively good earnings. I don't think they're going to have the margin problems that we saw Xpeng have. So maybe Wall Street and general retail will react to these guys a little bit better than that one. But keep your eyes peeled, guys. So far, so good with the technicals. Still, it's actually very healthy. I know investors generally would like to see it just going up and up and up. But from a longer term point of view, we've seen a lot of price action build up. We've seen a lot of consolidation. I called that this RSI was not going to be able to stay up there. Now it went down to slightly oversold levels. Now it's right around neutral. A little bit of a sideways move maybe until we get back to our actual earnings and see what happens. But that's Chargepoint. Still looking exciting to me. I would not be looking at opening a position or adding to my position personally right now. There's just too much volatility, and the implied volatility on the options chain is insane as well. So NIO Stock, again, today is up 3.34%. On the 5-day, down 5.59%. So I don't really think this has anything to do with Xpeng, in all honesty. NIO's earnings are still a little while away. They're still just traded within their ranges. You know, that's literally it. This is what we said on the video about them last week. Until there's, you know, absolutely huge groundbreaking news, or a really good or really bad earnings. I don't think they're going to break out of either of these ranges. They have held pretty strong. There is some good money to be made with NIO trading them right now. I mean, that's pretty undoubtable in my mind. Look at all of this capital though. Look at all of the cash build up. And you can see that even here when they briefly touched 1775, look at that where that RSI was. And when it comes to NIO and their news, again, there's been a few bits and pieces, but nothing mental. August 18th, NIO opens largest service center in China to date. And NIO partnered with Highway Service Manager in Henan province to speed up battery swap network. The news coming out about the updated China expected sales in NEVs didn't really seem to push them whatsoever. So yeah, I think pretty much what I said about them last week is this is the most boring NIO has been in a while. But maybe that is a good thing for long-term investors. Maybe it genuinely is. Maybe it's going to get to a place where it's going to get interesting from a buyer's perspective relatively soon. So again, when I said EV was hit hard, here we go, baby. They're up 3.3%. Still down 11% on the 5 days. And again, another very boring chart that looks just like NIO. It looks just like Workhorse even. Looks a lot like Lucid. Looks to an extent like Tesla even in their periods of consolidation. They're respecting ranges. And again, you can see they're right towards the end of their lower range. There could definitely be a nice swing inbound here. I mean, they've respected these ranges for quite a while. Here's to open up a position right here and ride it up to there. There's a 22% move on the run. If you want to play it a little bit safer, bring it down to right around here. There can still be a 15% run there in these even smaller ranges. It's a decent one to trade. I'm considering playing it a little bit, not touching my long-term position at these prices, but doing a few trades here and there. Again, no huge news coming out for Lucid. They come out a few days ago, say their new model is the world's most powerful sedan, as we like to see. But I mean, aside from that, not too much more. I'm seeing very mixed opinions on Lucid right now when I look into what analysts are saying, and even just what individual, retail investors and retail analysts, if you want to call them that, are saying across different forums like Seek and Alpha, Motley Fool, all those, Yahoo Finance as well. There's a lot of mixed opinions out there. Me still personally, I just think long term, even at these prices, it's a no-brainer. Well, I'm happy with my position, and I'm even happier to be risk-free in them, I'll put it that way. But yeah, we're still just accumulating. That's all that can be said, as we have been pretty much since mid-April 2022. Now, I'm only going to go through Xpeng really quickly because, honestly, I'm sure there are people who could give you a much better explanation of this company. I already said at the start of the video, I don't really follow them. But one thing I noticed was this low they made back here, they didn't really break below it. You can see they touched off it, gapped down, and came right back up within 2 days. And the same thing happened. They pretty much gapped through it and came right back up before going on a really nice upward move. And look what happened here. They gapped down. Can they move back up? Considering it was already a very bad week for EV, that RSI is really oversold. And anytime we've seen that in the past with these guys, it has been followed by a nice move. I'm not here to speak about the fundamentals of them because I don't know the ins and outs of them whatsoever. From a technical point of view, yeah, it's obviously not screaming buy considering the poor earnings. There's a reason why they went down, but there could be a quick trade on the table. I did just want to point that out because I did find that price action quite interesting personally. With that being said, still very clearly in a downtrend. They made that nice upward move that we've seen a lot of other EV companies make. We've seen Chargepoint do it, we've seen Tesla do it, we've seen a few others doing it. But now it did come down and make lower lows yet again. So the higher highs don't really mean as much. No clear ranges in my opinion. I probably won't play this one, but there probably is a high risk, high play there. There probably are some cheap calls going, I would imagine. And the last one I want to do is Workhorse because, again, last week when we spoke about these guys, we were pretty much just speaking about trading them and the ranges that they are trading in and how there is like some relatively quick 20 to 50+% moves happening with these guys relatively regularly. So again, today up 6.25% and 5-day chart down 11.92. So you guys can see it was a broader EV move. We saw it with NIO, Chargepoint, Tesla even. We've seen it with a lot of them, okay? But Workhorse is still trading right within that range. Now it's right in the middle of it. I would expect another considerable move to one side or the other this week, but I could not tell you what way I even expect it to be. I mean, the technicals are telling us absolutely nothing. But yeah, this is where they've been building up price action. They have the same red candles that most EV stocks have had. And what does this actually mean for the week coming up? Because The majority of us just saying that, you know, last week was a bad week. The S&P had a bad last few trading days as well. There's not been a lot of EV news come out. The only substantial thing is the Chinese numbers that they expected. The Inflation Reduction Act, which said a lot of good things for a lot of EV companies, didn't move things too much. So why is all this? People are clearly still extraordinarily worried about supply chains. I mean, that is the single biggest issue going on in the world of EV right now. And I do still believe that's what's keeping a lot of investors from getting money in there. Also, the fact people aren't investing as much right now, let's be real. I am not, and I bet an awful lot of you guys aren't compared to where you were mid-2020 through mid-2021 even. A lot of people have those recessionary fears. A lot of people aren't seeing money come back as fast and had to cut some losses. People are not investing as much, simply put. And the first place people are going to take away a lot of their money from is the higher risk, higher growth related industries. That's why they get hit harder when there's bad times, and it's why they go up faster when there is good times, because people flock to them. People don't really run to take their money out of, you know, their Facebooks, their Googles, their Amazons. Now, of course, we saw huge selling pressure across all of those companies too, but not to the same extent you're going to see with high risk, high return industries such as EV and a lot of other ones. So me personally, that's why I have been spending a little bit more time looking at technicals, because news has slowed down, coverage has slowed down, and we can just get a good understanding of what people are thinking without even checking a single article. You can just look at the stocks movement, you can just look at how people are reacting to earnings, and you get a great idea. It's clear to see when you look at companies like Tesla. It's going to be even clearer in 2 or 3 days time after the split. You will see what way people react. But I do think that there are a lot of deals out there right now, especially I remember people absolutely raging to buy NIO in the 50s and even 60s briefly. And now the same people would be very against buying them, even though fundamentally NIO hasn't become a worse company whatsoever. The same goes for Lucid. People were raving to buy them in the 40s and 50s. They said it's going straight to 100. And now, you know, they'd say, oh, this is one of the worst companies ever. Those are the kind of people who have sold out of all of their positions. But I'm going to keep doing this video at least once a week, just doing a broader coverage, doing some technicals on some of the companies that I find a little bit more interesting. But don't worry, especially now that I am going to get back to uploading that daily video, especially if we hit that 100 likes, there are going to be some much more in-depth ones too. There will definitely be another Chargepoint video soon before earnings come out, letting you know my plan, because I may plan to play this one. We'll see in the days leading up to it. There is also a Corsair gaming video coming very soon, because we haven't covered them in so long, and I only went back to look at them recently, and a lot of interesting things have happened. So yeah, we're going to be doing that, baby. But anyway, guys, if you watch this video all the way till the end, you, my friend, are a true legend, and I really do appreciate you being here from the bottom of my heart. Your support means the world to me. Again, if you are new around here and you do want more content such as this, hit that juicy red subscribe button, baby. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a beautiful, blessed day. I'll see you in another video very soon. Peace.